I hope in the end this whole video just makes a little bit of sense. Hello guys and welcome to another video. For those who don't know me, my name is Dennis and I'm probably also known as the guy behind HiHat Unlimited. Today once again I've picked my very favorite hat because I have something bigger to show you. If you have read the title, you already know what's going on. So I try to keep my trash talk as short as possible. But I also want to get you known about the background and a little bit of storytelling. It's necessary, I'm sorry. For those who are not interested, just skip the video a little bit. I try to make it timestamp. But if you're familiar with my work, I have created the treble hi-hat in order to have a very simple, compact, treble-friendly solution. And also, it turned out to be a treble hi-hat during development because I usually like the aesthetics of regular hardware and also a two-leg hi-hat stand. But with the stuff I'm making, high-end products, very low quantities, just several pieces per year, it's not possible to do stuff that's the usual thing with mass-produced hardware, because you need to imagine all these legs and cymbal stand parts, hi-hat parts. The reason why they are affordable, at least, is because they are mass-produced. Usually having this leg design, all these round parts, makes everything super complicated to machine. Not to assemble, not to use, but to machine, because the parts are more complicated than it should be. And yeah, that's the main reason why it has taken me so long, but I found a solution. Enough with this trash talk. Here is my little scooter. It has got its nickname, I think, at the drum fair in Germany, the treble hi-hat, because it looks like a folded scooter. And it's obviously based on the treble hi-hat. There are several things that are different, and I'm gonna try to show you all these things in this video, and I hope it doesn't take too long. So one thing I have changed a bit is the folding mechanism. It still works the same way, but instead of rotating the entire post in order to connect the post or this post with the lower section, there's now this locking nut which just counters on this post and connects everything nice and nice and stable. And another thing different to the treble hi-hat is it's hard to say, but I have swapped out the direct drive assemble down here, which was the easiest option to make this folding thing possible. I have swapped this out with a strap drive setup, which was a little bit more complicated to design, but actually is a bit easier to assemble and also a bit easier to use for you guys out there when it comes to setting up the footboard height, for example. So one thing is that down here is a screw, and this screw is connected to this entire strap. So in order to change the footboard height, you can just loosen this screw here and slide this whole thing back and forward in order to adjust the base height of your footboard and get it matched to the to your drum pedal. It still offers the same friction-free performance as the direct drive assembly had. There are some rolls here that are working as some sort of guidance and keeping the whole post from moving up and down super straight. In theory, usually if you have a moving footboard, it would pull tension in this direction and just bend the whole post here, adding friction. And these guide rolls, I'm terrible with finding names, prevent that and guarantee a super straight movement up and down. So if you're just wondering what these little wheels are doing, that's this little thing. But besides that, the spring adjustment is also the same as it was the case with the treble hi-hat. So you have just this wheel here which moves up and down and adjusts the pre-tension of the spring that keeps obviously your top cymbal apart from your bottom cymbal. So these are on the basic yeah, on the basic construction, these are the main differences. And now obviously there's this leg design, and you can, trust me, believe me or not, but you can completely remove these legs also to have a clean looking, just simple hi-hat stand. Just by removing these two screws and these screws. You can also add the treble hi-hat setup, because this base plate still shares the same mounting holes with the treble hi-hat, so this whole setup is also possible. As usual, I try to have everything modular and yeah, upgradable, downgradable, just changeable. You guess what I mean. So yeah. Besides that, you probably also want to see how to unfold this whole thing. So there's this handle here, it's the same one as up here. I don't know if it's still in the frame, but one thing up first I like to mention, you can just change the orientation of this handle in case it's not super straight, because I'm always, for one reason or another, afraid of crooked handles. But you can just, yeah, I already opened it. You can just open this handle, push the whole leg setup down, and it will unfold and reveal its potential. And that's basically it. I always recommend and suggest to just move the legs up and down here, because otherwise there is potential to damage the whole leg setup in the long run. One thing I want to mention before I forget it. Besides that, there is this cutout here, which is needed for the spring adjustment. This is more or less your reference if the legs are straight or not, and also for the orientation of the strap down here. You can, believe me or not, but you can just adjust the orientation of these legs, so you can just move them to the left or to the right, and that's not only possible by just loosening the screws and moving the entire setup. You can also just loosen this locking nut a little bit, and then you're able to just move the legs to the left or to the right by rotating the entire post. And these rolls down here still guarantee a smooth and straight run up and down, as it should be the case. So that's, in my eyes, a cool thing. But yeah, you can obviously, if you need some more extra space to the left or to the right, you can do that. And I think that's it with this whole lower section. The footboard is the same as the Darwin drum pedals have. There's the option to just swap out this black footboard for a silver one, or going from a short to a long board, the other way around. So all these footboard based possibilities that you probably know from the Darwin series are also possible to do with this hi-hat series, and also with the treble hi-hat, obviously. And yeah, another thing, I'm running out of space here, so I'm just going to fold it again. But oh no, one more thing, haha. I don't know how long this video will be, but you notice this rubber fades, and these rubber fades are super cool for thin carpets, drum carpets, setups without any carpets. But for thick carpets or different materials, you probably want to have something spiky. So there is the option to remove this rubber piece and replace it with a spike piece. So there is a tension rod here, and basically you can just remove this rod completely in order to obviously remove the rubber piece and replace it, as I said, with the spike piece. So depending on how nervous I am right now, here it is. It takes you between 30 seconds and 5 minutes, but that's in my eyes a pretty simple way to just swap out the leg design or adjust the leg design for some various circumstances. So that's the very last thing I wanted to mention with this lower section. I try to keep this video at least a little bit shorter as I have intended. But obviously to unfold it, just do this, counterclockwise rotating this, and everything is folded. And I'm in need to do that because I also want to show you this section over here. So it's still possible to just remove or just hide the pull rod inside this whole construction, so there's no need to remove everything, take everything apart. And how it works is that there's a tube inside in the lower section and the rod at the top section, so you can just pull out the pull rod completely and twist it counterclockwise a few revolutions. I suggest to do it at least 2 to 3 revolutions to have a tight fit. New for this version is there is some special glue or adhesive added to this thread design inside here that just gains some extra friction for the pull rod, so the chance of this accidentally coming loose, as you maybe know it from regular hi-hat stands, is not the case anymore. So that's another little detail that kept me awake for way too long, but it totally made sense. So it's no need to completely, let's say, turn it to a full stop. I mean, it will stop at some point, but it takes, I think, 10 revolutions to completely stop and lock. So I suggest at least 2 to 3 revolutions to have this pull rod tight and connected. And yeah, obviously you can extract this post. I will mention the minimum and maximum height as well as the pull rod height for this standard version in my online shop. And if you want to have anything customized, any lower parts or any super high setup, just let me know. And that's also possible to do because I'm cutting these carbon tubes to a specific length, and obviously I can customize this length according to your needs. And yeah, that's, I think, all with the whole top section here. Another thing, I'll just get it compact again because it's nice looking in my eyes. Prove me wrong. But so you can get this back in here. Another thing is, when this whole thing is folded, you can still turn the legs to the left or to the right in order to create a more or less even more compact setup, depending on or if that makes any sense for you when traveling or carrying the whole hi-hat stand. Another thing that has changed a little bit is the hi-hat clutch. So it's based on the treble hi-hat's hi-hat clutch, but I have just changed the orientation of the nuts that allow to add or remove pre-tension on the cymbal. So with these nuts, it's you can adjust how tight your top hi-hat cymbal can sit in between the hi-hat clutch. So with the treble hi-hat, these 2 nuts were down here and also served as a locking nut. So I have replaced these 2 with 1 nut down here that can be obviously removed and screwed on to a dedicated endpoint. So when this one is locked, it's fully locked. So this is my intention of having a quick release. I'm probably going to make another video about the story of this whole hi-hat clutch, because it's a whole it's a whole new world diving into that thing. But basically there's this locking nut which can be screwed on completely to have always the same pre-tension or same height on your top cymbal, and to increase or decrease the pre-tension you can just rotate these 2 nuts here. I'm really running out of English. I'm super sorry about that, but basically you can just clamp the cymbal down here more or less by rotating these 2 nuts, and they will counter each up so they won't getting loose by accident. Another little detail is that exactly at the point where the cymbal sits, there is now a little plastic piece added, so your cymbal won't be damaged by or getting keyholes on the long run because it's grinding on some blank threads or whatever. With the former version of this clutch, I just had blank aluminum, and having a plastic piece on top of this metal is, I think, a cool advantage. I was looking for at other clutches when researching this whole project, but actually haven't found any. I like having some plastic to protect your expensive cymbals from getting keyholes. The clamping mechanism is still the same as you probably know from the regular treble hi-hat clutch. New to this one is that this clutch can be used with the Darwin hi-hat stand or with any other hi-hat stand, because this hole has been made a little bit larger. So I think that's it with this whole thing, and I hope I managed to cover everything that was more or less necessary to cover. If I missed anything, or if there are still any unanswered questions, please feel free to reach out to me. As usual, the best way is to just write me an email. And yeah, I hope in the end this whole video just makes a little bit of sense, and I hope you enjoyed it. And with that being said, have a nice day and see you soon. Cheers!